Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I'm going to do another session of puzzles on Puzzle Streak. I just did the first 43 while not recording, and that brought me up to a puzzle rating of, this next puzzle has a difficulty, they say, of 2002. My plan here is to go up to 2100. So I don't know how many puzzles that is going to be, but I'm just going to take it from here and just share my thoughts along the way. All right, so Team White in this first one. What's grabbing my attention? This square right here. Also this move and this bishop. Bishop's unprotected. We're down a piece. We're down a knight. This seems pretty good. In fact, forget about the bishop. How are they defending mate? That's going to be tricky. I believe it's rook e7. This move is only helping the queen to scare our own queen away after black recaptures on f6, so I really don't have any other move besides rook to e7. If the knight moves, we could take on this square with the rook. A knight move would defend this, but also add an additional attacker to g7, so it's really not helping at all. What might be tried after this, maybe queen g5. And I believe in reply to that, we could capture on g7 with our rook, king in the corner. And then, oh, we could give mate. The king in the corner is opposite our bishop. Rook h7 in that position would be mate. Okay. Let's see if that's actually how it plays out. Or maybe, let me consider something else. Black has a check. This one here. King h2 and then queen back to f4, but we have g3. f2 is covered. I think that's the first move. Okay, they're going with the checks. And puzzle end. Let me put up the variation I was pointing out after queen g5, mate. Mate in 2, yep, chop. And then rook h7. There's other wins, and this is the first one that crossed my mind to simply win the material, but had better. All right, Team White. This check right here has my attention, and follow up smothered mates, possibly. Check, king here's the only reply. We better do something fast because we're ready to have some discovered check or maybe a queen exchange. So we need to check our way to checkmate, maybe. Or try and get the queen at the very least. So I'm thinking it has to begin with this one, king h8, and then knight here. If the king moves, we can take this rook, discover check, and then take the queen. And that's going to help out in stopping any follow-up checks. You know, we'd have a bunch of material there as well. So what's another variation? Check here, check, queen takes. I guess we could take with the queen or pawn in that position. I'm not sure it's really going to matter at that point. I believe it's going to have to be g6 on move 1, knight f7. Okay, it does matter. My instinct tells me to take with the pawn, since that's generating a threat. Yeah, and I think that's important. There is going to be some important line, and I think it's because if, well, let's say we take with the queen. No, let me go with this. If we take with the pawn and then there's a knight move. Like this rook this rook would have a responsibility, is what I'm getting at. This rook can't do something to try and win our queen. Yeah, that's why I'm leaning towards this. But this isn't me calculating. It's just an intuitive feel I have right here with taking the pawn. What's the difference though if we just took with the queen? I guess we don't have a whole lot of extra material. Yeah, that's the thing. I guess we need to be in a spot to be on the rook and still get ready to win this bishop after the position simplifies a little bit. Yeah, so we want to have an additional threat on this recapture is what it's coming down to. Yeah, so let's just have a look. If we took with the queen, we're losing. White would be losing after knight f3 here, bishop f6. The piece is rescued, and this is great coordination. Yeah, our king is going to be in some trouble too, our knight. Look at our pieces. So taking with the pawn, if black tries similar, king c1. Oh, right, because if we go here, there's rook takes knight. We have to walk a tightrope along the first rank. Rook f8. We have our rook here being attacked. Okay, there's multiple wins from here, but the main point, generate an additional threat there on the recapture. All right. White to move. Okay. This queen's unprotected, so this is one of those, I've described this as like a boomerang type tactic. You take here, and after queen takes queen, you can circle back. But that's not going to be the recapture in this case. Our bishop is under attack right here. Material is balanced. Yeah, entirely balanced. Same pawn, just 2 pawns exchanged each. So knight takes knight, queen takes queen. We're going to be recapturing with the bishop, is the thing. And what other move might be played after knight takes knight? Let's say queen f5. We could address the threat on our knight first with, let's say, knight g3, hitting the queen, and then rescue our bishop next, if it even goes in that direction. Okay, so let's take here. No queen f5, so we recapture with this guy, save our bishop. All right, let's continue. Black to move. We got rook check, queen check. This is not a good check. I'm thinking it's going to be the move that is flushing the king forward. It's my initial thought. Or no, on second thought, we could try and pinpoint here. Let's see. Rook to g2 first. And there's a bunch of different king moves. Let's see. So if here and then the king goes to one of these two, we're going to have here followed by mate on d2 with our queen. So if here and king here, we would have this as mate. But let's look at the forward moves. So these are the 2 forward moves. I'm going to say after king c3, we capture here, and then we're able to do something with our rook and queen. The one I want to look at here is this king here. King d3. What are we doing there? Oh, we have a bishop check, winning the queen. Okay. I'm convinced it's going to be... Oh my goodness. Okay, that's a big miss. Yeah, that's a really big miss. I kind of lucked out there. Yeah, I didn't even realize that the bishop was guarding g2. It's still the correct solution, but for the wrong reasons, for the wrong train of thought. Yeah, the bishop does have a responsibility in defending the queen. Okay, queen takes queen is going to be the end of this one. Yeah, okay. We'll still go with it. That was a blunder, but still a success. Oh, okay. Black to move. How can we give check and win this guy? Can we get our queen here? That's all I want to do. Hey, get our queen here. Land a check on one of these squares. This one's covered. Any of these squares, can we get there with check? That's all I want. How can we make that happen? Because then we'll win the king and pawn ending. That's got to be the solution. So win both rooks for the queen. Check here, check here. Let me consider first the central move. If the king goes here, then we got it. Check, we win the rook. Both rooks soon. Check king here. How are we getting the king then? Let's try different. Oh, actually we have this. I was fixated on these four. What about this one? Ah, and that's helpful now. Any of these five. So if we start here, let me still continue with this idea of getting to these. The queen in the corner still keeps in mind these two squares. So if the king goes here, we can make use of this square with the fork. And if the king goes here, we can make use of this square with the fork. And that should be the winner. So queen, corner pocket, centralize, win the rook, and puzzle solution, or puzzle end. So if it did continue, this is how it would play out, something like this. You have to track that guy down. Oh, look at how fast I played that move. That's not even you can't run right after that pawn just yet. Oh, you race this guy up first. Shoulder off the king. Ooh, this one's getting pretty specific. I guess this one could have been carried out a bit more. Shoulder off the king. Shoulder him off again. Still an only move. Yeah, this one's instructive for sure. And by this point, I think there's multiple moves, yeah. Okay, that's interesting. I'm glad I took that one out a little bit. Easy to go wrong there. I wanted to go right after the pawn first, but we're eventually going to have to move this first. And yeah, this idea of shouldering off the king while still approaching the pawn in a way is going to be an important follow-up. Okay, continuing, a king and pawn ending. Okay. All right, this one shouldn't be too bad. We have to first resolve this tension. So it's going to be this or that, but really can't be this one because we're helping black to acquire an outside pass pawn. So I believe we resolve the tension by capturing and then bringing our king over here to hunt this pawn. Yeah, that's what it is. And let's see, so here, king comes there. We get him. If black ever tries to get this, we could always scoop that pawn up first and then shift over and get this guy. This is our target, but first resolve this tension and come over. How might it play out here? Here, yeah, that he's not there in time. Another close race here. We start to run right away. Yeah, if I should be pointing out, this guy is already passed. But if we run right away, he could be caught. So, grab this guy first. All right. Continuing, white to move. I'm thinking it has to be mate. And we have this square. If we could get our queen here in one move, that would be nice. Queen on g6, king here. Queen h6. The queen could block. And then we would have a knight f3 move or even a knight g6 move for mate. So we could get here in a couple moves. So starting with queen g7. If the king steps over, we have queen g6 mate. Pretty sure it has to begin with this. And then that queen's interacting really well with our knight. And what is the computer going to play? I'm guessing, I don't know. It doesn't matter. If he starts on h5, I believe we give the check and then take here. Or if king h4 straight away, we take here. This should be a checkmate in 1, 2, 3, 4 at most. Let's put this one on. 1, 2, 3, and 2 different checkmates. I'll go with the one that's central, because the queen's pinned. She can't take if the knight's here. Knight f3 for mate. Let's just double check. Checkmate in 4 from the initial position. Yeah, checkmate in 4. All right, continue. Team white. I already had this one. So this one's bishop h6. Not in this session, but I've just seen this one before. Discovered attack against the queen. All right. Continuing. Okay, this is a very familiar pattern. Bishop check, king in the corner, and then bishop here, controlling that f2 and h2 square. Checkmate in 1, 2, 3, 4. Very common pattern. Okay. Black to move. Okay, what to note? We have checks. 2 checks. The d3 one, we could take the queen and maybe follow up with check. This rook is unprotected. This queen is short on squares. Meaning, if we duck the queen exchange, we're ready to play c6 next and she's toast. I believe that's going to be the trick. So we get out of this tension by hitting white where they're vulnerable, the rook, unprotected rook. And if the rook reacts, we're going to get the queen after c6. She's in the center, but she's short on squares in the center in this case. All right, so queen g6. Some pressure here, but we got it covered. Yep, that's the way. All right, continuing. Team white. What's grabbing my attention? We could take the queen, but they're recapture and get a new queen, say check. This one has to be the move. It's the only good check. But what's the follow-up going to be? Check. We're in a pin as well, so our rook isn't able to do anything with coming to this 7th rank or 6th rank. Can we really do enough with the queen and bishop alone? All right, so let's consider. After check, I'm going to say, what are we doing after rook g7? Oh. Check rook g7, we have queen f6 check. And then we're able to take the rook next with check. Okay. So let me consider different variation, queen h6 and king g8. Oh, okay, we could play check once more and take the rook again with check on our next move. And that's going to be an important resource to have, to be able to win this guy with check, because these guys are looking pretty menacing. The idea to take our rook and then promote with check. All right, so it should begin with this one, then queen g5, and puzzle end. Let me take this one out a bit further. I just want to see, let's say the king goes here, we take here with check, then king g7. How are we eventually getting out of this predicament with the queen and the rook? Am I going to get any clarity here? King g8. Queen g6. Okay, this little back and forth, I'm not convinced there. Queen d6. Trial and error. Computer loves the g6 square. Queen e5. King g8. What are we doing to get out of this? Oh, okay, let me put this one. Okay, so bishop e4 stops this advance. Okay, well, at least have some idea. This bishop can help stop these guys. And maybe be in a spot to start getting at the king along this diagonal. It's still a little tricky, though, I would think, you know? If I'm playing as black here, I'm not resigning after bishop to e4. I'm going to still play some moves. g2. Check, king f8. Queen d8. Maybe I'm never going to be convinced here. King h8. Oh, bishop takes g2. Okay, all right. Yeah, that took a while. Anyhow, the main idea there, winning the rook with check. White to move. We have a check here. Check here. Well, if we start with this check, if the king moves, we have mate in the corner. So this is a way we could interact with the rook, getting to the h8 square. Check and pawn block. We could take the rook. Queen wouldn't be defending. Suppose check and this guy goes here. What are we doing there? Queen here, threatening mate in two ways. Queen h7. Oh, I see now. So if this check and the rook plays here, we can take the rook first, which is pulling white into a position where the king is a defender. King has to defend the queen, and then we could deflect the king away from the queen. So this, chop, chop, check, and then we get the queen next. Okay. Maybe the computer will play queen f6 on move 1. Let's see. No. Oh, I'm mistaken. No, I'm not. I was thinking if we go here, are we going to get back rank mated? No, we're not, because we can block and say discovered check. Okay, important to see that. Rook g8, and now we take the queen. All right. Continuing. Oh, we're almost at 2100. Not many puzzles, but I'm going to go step by step here. So I think I see this one. This queen's unprotected. Can we create a condition where these guys are on the same line, same file, rank, same file? I believe we can. Check. King here. Take with the pawn. King here, and that opens up queen h8. And we get the queen. In that resulting position, this knight can't do anything against our king. There are no checks for white in that final position, so we should be good. Let's do it. Chop, check, and puzzle end, puzzle end. Session end? We're going to get to 2100? How about that? We're going to stop there on this one. So that wasn't very many puzzles. Only 13, I think. We start at 43. Okay, that's as far as I wanted to go. Maybe for next session, can try going from 2100 to 2200. But we'll have to see about that. Okay, as usual, feel free to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below. Hope you enjoyed it and maybe took a thing or two away from my sometimes rough train of thought. Okay, that's all for now. Take care. Bye.